Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guest today is Jeanette Saylor. Jeanette, thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we really do appreciate it. So thank you again, and if you guys want to be house guest of the day like Jeanette, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Okay, so when we left off yesterday, Christy's spirit guides told her, you need to go talk to Jackson. Talk to the man in charge this week, because if anybody could change this thing around, it's you. You're amazing. Okay, so Christy, Sis, and Tommy want to try and reunite the five because that's pretty much the only way they can save Christy and Sis this week. They need Jackson to use that power veto. I don't think it looks so good. I don't think it's gonna happen. So expect lots of reconciliation talks leading up to the power veto ceremony. And yes, this spoiler is chock full of them. So Christy and Sis are in the RV room trying to come up with a game plan. So Sis is like, okay, what if we start out with me talking to Holly? I'll clear the air. I'll start mentioning that maybe we should get the group back together, blah, blah, blah. And they're realizing, whoa, Jess is probably going to have to go up in one of our places this week. It's going to have to be Jess. And Christy says she feels bad about it, but it is what it is at this point. What the F is Jess even doing right now? It's like she's done a complete 180 and all of a sudden she's best friends with Sis and Christy, and she's talking crap about Nicole. She doesn't really want anything to do with Cliff. It's really bizarre. So anyway, she's effing up her game. So Sis says, I love Jess too, but it really does make the most sense for her to be the one to go up this week, because we're gonna need Nick's vote, and Nick will vote out Jess. He can't stand Jess. That's like, I don't know, 50% of the time he's talking about how much he wants Jess out. The other 50% of the time he's making some sort of inappropriate comment. Right? So yeah, they figure Nick will keep Sis or Christy over Jess. So if it was like Nicole or Cliff going up as the replacement nominee, that's a little dicey because Nick has something going on with them. He's got something going on with everyone pretty much except for Jess. So they would not feel as confident with Nicole or Cliff going up on the block. So then Sis is telling Christy, if you stay, you don't even have to win HOH next week. She says no one's gonna be targeting you. Everyone's gonna be going after like Jackson or Holly. Nick will be going after, well, I guess Jess would be gone. So that's not even whatever. But she says that Nick will not be going after Christy either. You really think everyone's gonna go after Jackson and Holly over Christy? What? So Sis says, all right, I'm gonna talk to Holly first, then Christy's gonna talk to Jackson and Holly together, and then after that they want to get all five together. And then they're thinking, you know what, should we be including Nick in this too? Oh my god. So you want to have a group of 6 when there's only 9 people left, and next week there's only going to be 8 people left. So you want to have 6 people out of 8. That is so dumb. So they don't want Nick to feel left out and potentially lose his vote this week, so they're like, you know what, whatever we end up doing, we need to include Nick in that. So Sis really thinks that this is going to work out. She's going to plant seeds about Jess when she talks to Holly, because Jess caused the re-division in the group, and Christy's going to enforce that later. Okay, so next, Sis checks in with Tommy, and he's feeling really anxious because he doesn't know what's going to happen after this week. He doesn't want Christy or Sis to go. You know, those are his 2 girls. He's had them this whole time, and now one of them could be going, so he's freaking out. So Sis is telling him the plan. She says, we can both stay this week. You can still have both of us. So she's telling him all about how she's gonna talk to Holly and blah blah blah. They're gonna get the group back together, whatever. So Tommy's like, you need to tell Jackson and Holly that you want to get the gang back together. This is a phrase that I heard so many times yesterday. We're gonna get the gang back together. The gang's getting back together, blah blah blah. So he's also telling her, you know, remind Jackson that he's always saying he wants to compete against the best of the best. So let's all get back together, get rid of these other 3 people, and then we'll have a good time, you know, we'll battle it out. So Sis brings up we should probably include Nick, and Tommy is not so sure, which is surprising because Tommy is like Nick's #1 fan, it seems like. But he's like, I don't know, I had some weird dreams all night last night about Nick. They were not good. I feel like I should, it's like that thing where you dream about someone and you feel like you should be mad about them, but they didn't actually do anything to you in real life. But I think Tommy is starting to see just how sketchy Nick plays this game, or sketchily Nick plays this game. So he's starting to get a little bit weirded out by him. So then a little later, Sis kicks off the plan. She goes up to the HOH room to talk to Holly, and it was a long talk. It was like at least an hour long. So they start out by saying they've both been feeling really hurt lately. Sis felt blindsided about the nominations, and she felt like Holly must have known that Sis was going up. She did. So she really would have appreciated a warning from her. And she says it felt really insincere when Holly went to the RV room to talk to Christy and Sis after the nominations, and it was like super awkward, and Holly agrees it was super awkward. So then Sis is saying, you know, I really felt like we could have made it to the final 4 with Christy and Tommy, because that's something that they've talked about in the past. And in the past also, Sis and Holly swore to each other that they would choose each other over their showmances. That's really easy to say when your showmance has already been evicted. I mean, they promised it before, but do you really, deep down in your heart, think that Sis would have picked Holly over Jack? Because I really don't think so. So anyway, like if the roles were reversed, I don't think so. So then Holly says, I did mean it when I swore that to you. Yeah, but now, no. So she says, I felt really awkward when I went to the RV room to talk to you and Christy because I wanted to comfort you guys so badly, but I felt really weird and insincere about it because Jackson was the one that put you guys up, so I was in a really weird spot. And Holly is claiming that she was not involved in Jackson's nominations process. Ah! Come on. She says she had a feeling that Christy would go up, but she didn't know that Sis would, and it's just ridiculous. Come on, come on. So Sis says that Christy was really serious about the group getting back together. She's trying to make Christy look good right now. And Sis says there are mental competitions coming up, and let's face it, we both suck at those. So the other side has a really good chance to win those. Like Cliff, Jess, Nicole, they're gonna be better than us. So if we have Christy around and one less of Jess, Cliff, and Nicole, that could be good. I don't know, like, wouldn't that make Holly and Jackson want to work with the other side more because they're more likely to win those competitions? Alright, well anyway, then Sis starts bringing up Jess, and they both start blaming her for driving them apart. And at first, Holly is claiming that she did not say those like mean girl things about Sis that Jess was claiming. And Holly says she's really confused about what Jess is doing right now. We all are. It doesn't make any sense. So she says first Jess was kissing Holly and Jackson's asses, and then she turned around and started kissing Sis and Christy's asses and saying all these things about Holly behind her back. So what's really going on here? So Sis says that Jess is trying to cause a divide because she's scared that the 5 are gonna get back together and take the others out. So she's playing us right now. She's trying to make sure we stay apart. I mean, it's not a bad idea, right? But she's being really sloppy about it. So Holly agrees, yes, she is definitely doing that. But at the same time, Holly also admits, you know, there is a little truth in everything that Jess is saying. She's not just making this shit up out of thin air. She says she's taking any little thing she can and blowing it up into something that it's not. I don't know. All I know is that Holly and Sis have talked a lot of shit about each other. A lot. I mean, what Jess told Sis was just the tip of the iceberg. So yeah, neither of them are innocent in this situation. But anyway, Holly says that Jess doesn't have any game information, so she's just grasping onto personal stuff, and she says it's not fair and it's mean. Oh. So then Sis is trying to justify why she was part of that final 6 deal last week. She says the only reason that she took the deal with Cliff was to keep herself safe through what she thought was going to be a double eviction. She says she was not planning on nominating Holly and Jackson if she won HOH. Right, because she was planning on throwing the HOH so that somebody else like Cliff or Nicole could win and put up Holly and Jackson, which is, I feel like, just as bad. And I feel like it's insane that Christy and Sis have been admitting all week, like, yeah, I was throwing the competition, I was gonna throw it. Like, shouldn't you be fighting for it, or at least say you were fighting for it so that you wouldn't put them up? Like, okay. So anyway, Sis is then like, I'm not trying to throw Nick under the bus because I effing love him. But she says that Nick is the one who came up with the deal last week with Cliff that left out Jackson and Holly. So she says if Nick did win, he was telling us that he was going to put up Holly and Jackson. But then he started saying, no, I'm going to throw it because he didn't want to have to put up you guys because he told you that you were good. So he's got a lot of shit going on here. I mean, Sis was also going to throw it. Ah! Okay, so then Sis is pushing, we should all get back together. We'll be so effing strong together and we'll take out everyone else and then we can all compete against each other and it'll be so much fun. Oh my god. So Sis is pushing for either Jess or Nick to go up, and Holly's like, okay, we will talk about this more with the rest of the group. Great, really looking forward to it. Okay, so then Sis, Christy, and Tommy touch base a little while later, and Sis is feeling pretty good after the talk with Holly. She thinks it went well, and Tommy says, I think we get the gang back together. Guys, my Tommy doll is broken. He only says one phrase. Whenever I pull his string, he only says he wants to get the gang back together. So he says, yeah, grateful. We really should include Nick in on this because then we'll make sure that he's gonna vote for Christy to stay. Okay, so then Tommy says, we really need to pitch to Holly and Jackson that if we get the group back together, it's gonna buy them 2 more weeks of safety. They'll still be big targets moving forward, but if they rejoin with us, they'll have an army protecting them, and it pretty much guarantees them at least 2 more weeks. Here we go with the guaranteed safety again, right? So Christy, they figure she's gonna have to promise a little bit more than Nick and Sis will. Christy's gonna have to promise Jackson that she will not take a shot at him when they get down to the final 6, because that's something that he has mentioned he's afraid of in the past. He's always thinking, like, if I stick with this group, I'm gonna be the first one targeted at final 6, and he's not okay with that. So she's gonna have to make more of a deal there, and they're thinking they'll have the votes to pull this off if Jess is the replacement nominee, because they're counting on Nicole and Cliff to vote Jess out because she was not part of the final 6 1-week deal. Do you really think Nicole and Cliff would stick to that? I really hope not. So anyway, Tommy says America will effing love it if they all get back together. Yeah, that's gonna be a hard no from America. So then Christy and Sis are talking alone, and Christy says she's so annoyed that she has to game now. So she clarifies she loves to game, she wants to game, she's there to game, but she doesn't want to have to make a deal with Jackson. She only wants to make deals with people she likes. So she says, he's got me by the balls now. I don't have a choice. You know, I have to do this. Wow, you have to do something that you don't like in the game. Imagine that. So then Christy is chatting with Jackson and Holly in the HOH room. And she's telling them, first of all, I love you. And she says she wasn't surprised that she went up this week, but it still sucked. It sucks to get nominated. It's not like an award show where it's an honor just to be nominated. So she felt like they were all set to get back together, and then they had the huge blow up. And the blow up that they keep referring to is all the craziness that went down the night before Kat's eviction. There's two like big things that they reference a lot. There's day 44, which was the crap about Kat and Holly knowing each other. When everybody was fighting and they had the live feeds leak and everything. So that was day 44. And then the big blow up that they're referencing now is the night before Kat's eviction. So Christy is placing a lot of blame on Jess, trying to split their group apart and cause drama. And then Christy admits, yes, I did jump on the target Jackson and Holly bandwagon because I was angry. And she says she was also trying to make it look like they weren't working together. And she says that she took the deal with Cliff because she thought that this was going to be the double eviction week. She thought it was going to be a mental competition for the HOH, and she knows that Cliff was targeting her, so she wanted to secure her safety with him. So that's what that was. And she says she had no intention of winning HOH because she wasn't going to be putting Jackson and Holly up on the block. Again, come on, we see what you're doing. So then Jackson speaks his piece, and oh my god, we've heard it so many times. His analogy of like, I looked at the 6 like we were in a relationship, and it felt like I got cheated on day 44, and then I like tried to get the 6 back anyway, and then it was thrown in my face when I found out about the final 6 deal that Holly and I were not included in. And he also brings up the conversation that he overheard with Christy, Sis, and Jess in the Have Not room, which we've heard a million times now, about Jackson and Holly being all alone, and it's 6 versus 2 in the HOH competition, and they never win any competitions anyway, so who cares? So then Jackson says straight up, Christy, you are the biggest threat to me. You are the biggest threat to me winning $500,000. I had to shoot my shot, you know, I don't know when I'm gonna win another HOH if I am at all. So then Christy's acknowledging, yeah, I'm probably gonna go this week. But she says, I'm going to at least try. You know, I'm a fighter. I want to do my best to stay in this game. So she's trying to sell Nick, Nicole, and Cliff as a trio. And she's saying, you know, when we get down to the final 6 or whatever, I would have your backs over Nick's, because I know that he's close to a lot of other people, like closer to them than he is to me, so you guys are above him on my list. So then she says she's willing to make whatever deal she needs to stay. She's saying, let's get back together. She starts playing the Al Green song now. And then she says America would flip out about the comeback story. Nope. Okay. So Jackson says, I have gained so much, or sorry, you have gained so much more respect for me over the past few days with how you've handled being nominated, and I love you and respect you on a personal and game level. Translation, no deal. Yeah, okay, so then Jackson leaves. He's gonna slice up some watermelons, no joke. And Christy and Holly are chatting alone. They're both crying, they're just hashing things out. And Holly is like, I didn't know what was going to happen with these nominations. She says, I wouldn't have made the same move if I was HOH. I don't know. I honestly don't know what she would have done. I think she still probably would have targeted Christy, because that's what Jackson would say. But maybe she would have backdoored her. But then again, at the same time, she might have just targeted Nick this week because she really does not like him. With reason. Okay. So then, Holly is saying she wanted the group to get back together. They exchange I love yous, of course, and that's that. So then after that's over, Holly is catching Jackson up on everything in the storage room, and they're trying to figure out what Jess is doing right now because nobody seems to know. I don't know if Jess even knows what she's doing. She keeps throwing Holly under the bus, and it's not a good look when Holly's showmance is the HOH. So Jackson says, you know what? I almost want to take Sis down and put Jess up on the block. Not to get rid of her, but to like shake her up a bit. So they agree, yeah, he probably shouldn't actually do that because he still wants Christy out this week, and if Jess goes up on the block, there's a good chance that they'll flip the vote and keep her. I mean, get rid of her. So Holly says, well, moving forward, we know now we cannot count Jess as a number for us because she's doing some really shady shit. And Holly also says that she feels better about Sis, not 100%, but better. Alright, so then Sis, Christy, and Tommy continue to scheme. They are trying so hard to come up with a way to convince Jackson to use the power of veto. They're going through all the replacement nominee options. Christy thinks that they should pitch Nicole as the replacement because she knows that there's something between Nick and Jackson. So it's not very likely that Jackson would want to put Nick up. However, she knows that Nicole is also very close to Nick. So if Jackson puts up Nick, it'll disarm him without having to get rid of him. And it'll also make Nick prove his loyalty because they're not really sure who he holds in higher regard. Is it Nicole and Cliff, or is it their group? So she sees this as a big test for Nick. Okay, so then Holly and Jackson chat again, and it's not really sitting well with them that the rest of the 6 shooters want to include Nick in the group again. They feel like if that's the case, they're definitely going to be leaving in 6th and 5th place because they have to have something going on with Nick that will not include them. They don't trust Nick. They know that he's got something with everyone pretty much except for Jess. And I think it's pretty obvious to everyone because Nick keeps saying that he wants to target Jess. But he's also saying that he can't figure out who he would put up as a pawn next to Jess. Hello, because he's got some sort of deal with everyone else. So yeah, people don't like that. So then Holly is also saying that she doesn't want to have to flirt with Nick to stay on his good side. Gross! Okay. So then Sis and Tommy go up to the HOH room to pitch to Holly and Jackson. And Tommy's like, okay, you guys have heard some of the plan here to save Sis and Christy, get the group back together. What do you think about it? You know, what do you think about getting the gang back together? And Jackson says, you know what? I haven't really thought about it that much yet. Ah! Okay. So Jackson says, honestly, I feel like Christy can beat me, especially in a lot of the mental competitions that they haven't done yet. And he doesn't know if he's gonna get this chance again and be able to take her out. You know, maybe she could be good for his game for a few weeks. And then what? She wins HOH at Final 6 and takes him out? He feels like she would target him first in their group. So then Sis is like, well, how do you know I wouldn't turn on her first? Come on! Are you joking? Come on. So then Sis is also saying, we need to keep Christy around for now for numbers. But that doesn't mean that, you know, she's gonna make it all the way to the end. One of us might take her out before you have to. Come on. Okay, so then Tommy is saying he wants to put together the best army that has ever happened in this game. And he says this will guarantee all of them in their group 2 more weeks, at least 2 more weeks. That's not how that works. What if Nicole or Cliff win HOH? Are they gonna attack each other? Or are they gonna like, so stupid. It's so stupid! Okay, moving on. Tommy says that Christy has another idea, but he wants to leave that for her to pitch to them. She's gonna do that later. And he's telling them, ask Christy for whatever you want because she will honor it. Okay. Honestly though, I think if they did make a deal with Christy, she probably would stick with it. I think. But then again, she could use other people to take them out. I don't know. So, Yeah. Jackson tells them he'll think about it. Okay, so then after that, Holly and Jackson discuss all of this again. I felt like the same shit over and over again with just like a few words changed. So Jackson says, look, Christy, Sis, and Tommy are backed into a corner right now. They are scared because they put all their eggs in the 6 shooters basket. They didn't make relationships with people outside of that group, and now they're crapping their pants. So Holly says the only worthwhile move besides getting rid of Christy would be making a deal with her, and then Jackson cuts her off and says, if I change the nominations, it's gonna ruin everything that we've built with the others outside of the 6 shooters. It's gonna be really bad for us. So Holly is saying, yeah, but I'd kind of like to see Nick go up. She knows that Nick is after her. She's telling Jackson, like, yeah, Christy is your white whale, but Nick is my white whale. So then Jackson says, I'm good with Nick. He wants Nick out soon, but he wants Christy out now. So Holly is going through the different options of replacement nominees. She's playing devil's advocate. She's also really scared that if they take out Christy this week, Tommy and Sis are gonna target them. And Jackson says, you know what? I'll risk it. I'm already target anyway. People have been targeting me for weeks now, whatever. And if they truly wanna work with us like they say they do and they wanna get back with us, then they can still do that after Christy is gone. So he sees through this. He knows that they're just doing this because they want Christy to stay. Right? So anyway, he says he's not going to make moves for them. He doesn't owe them anything. He doesn't know if he's going to win another HOH, so he's going to do whatever's best for his game. And he says, I'm not using the veto. So meanwhile, Sis and Christy are smiling and laughing because they think that the plan is working and that they're going to both survive this week. Oh my god. In other news, Jess is trying to figure out some sort of plan for Christy to stay this week, and Sis, I guess. So she's pushing Christy, you really need to pitch Nick as the replacement nominee. Of course she's gonna say that because Jess and Nick are like this right now. So Christy thinks, no, Jackson is not gonna wanna put up Nick. He's way more likely to put up Nicole. No way. But she's gonna tell him this will weaken Nick without getting rid of him. Okay, so then Pop TV gave the house guests some supplies to bake and decorate some owl-shaped cookies. Orwell, yay! They were a little disappointed it wasn't alcohol, but what are you gonna do? So then Christy talked to Jackson again, one-on-one this time, and it was the same crap about getting the gang back together. She was telling him, I'll do anything you want. And she was pretty much pitching for, well, she was going through pros and cons for Cliff, Jess, and Nicole, but this was really the first time I think that they were mentioning Nicole as a potential replacement nominee. Guess what? It's not doing anything for Jackson. It's not working. So then today, they had the power veto ceremony, and Jackson did not use the power veto, which means that either Sis or Christy, Sisty, will be going on Thursday. So it's pretty clear that Christy's gonna be the one that's gonna be evicted unless something insane happens. And needless to say, Christy and Sis are pissed. So Christy's freaking out. She seems to be taking it out on Nick because she's frustrated that he's in so good with so many people, and she keeps saying she's so frustrated. Just reminds me of Danielle Donato. And there's lots of tears and lots of anger. She says, I see the path of this game. Everyone is blind and under a spell. You were definitely a part of that for a long time. How many times were they just like, oh, it's just Nick being Nick, like whatever, we don't have to worry about that. I bet you're regretting that now. So she says she wants to play. She wants to make moves. She wants to shift the power, which is hilarious. So then Christy and Tommy were talking in the RV room, and she says that she's pretty sure that Nick is working with Jackson and Holly, and if that is the case, they're gonna dominate everything, and she does not want to see them win. So Christy starts formulating her campaign. She says she knows exactly what she's gonna say to people. She's gonna tell everyone, I'm a bigger target, I will be a shield for you. Sis is protected by a lot of people. Nobody's gonna be coming after her. She's gonna be used as a pawn. So Christy says she's gonna fight to win competitions, and she wants to put up Nick and Jackson. So she's pissed that Nick feels so comfortable that he can throw competition after competition and just skate by. She doesn't want to let that happen. So, woo! This is gonna be a long 3 days. Do you guys think Christy has a shot? Honestly, I would not be that upset if Christy stayed and Sis went, if it meant that Christy was gonna take out Nick. But then again, I don't know if I could survive another week of Christy on the block, because it is gonna be rough. Okay, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. Also, I'm team fun feeds, so I think that Christy would be a lot more fun to watch than Sis, who just complains all day. But I don't know. Maybe Sis is gonna have a meltdown once Christy goes. We'll see. And also, right before I started filming this, I saw it looked like Nick and Sis were starting to get into it. So we'll be picking up with that tomorrow. Should be fun. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until tomorrow, much love.